So, James is having hot chocolate that I made by melting some Bernard Callebaut chocolate with some almond milk. And I wanted to mention first, I had talked about Umami Bomb, how this is an awful cookbook. And I forgot to mention that there's the last, I guess, chapter of this book is, even though this is vegetarian recipes, the last chapter, fish, bonus chapter. Now,
well, there's Bisco vegetarian stuff.
Yeah, but honestly, it's just not very good. I just wanted to point out again, this is a bad cookbook, and it's not even very thick, and somehow they had to put a pescatarian section in the book, which is not appropriate. It's not appropriate at all. So it's like having a
Umami of the Sea, it's called.
Yeah,
that isn't very thick. It isn't a very long chapter, but
no, but it's not.
A bonus
it would be better not in there, because when you're a vegetarian person and you come across a pescatarian section, you're like, what in the world? That's not good. It's just very unappetizing all of a sudden. It turns your stomach. So
it's about not quite 10 pages out of 200 pages, so
anyway.
1/20th. But yeah, I think most I don't know what vegetarians would find most disgusting, like fish or.
Oh, just lay it down flat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, just there.
Fish is disgusting, there's no doubt about it, but it's disgusting eating cows, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you'd never have a 75 vegetarian recipes, and then at the back, cow, you know, beef recipes, bonus section.
Yeah,
like that's
veal, like eat a calf, you know.
Sure.
It's amazing.
So, Annabelle comes home. This is Annabelle 3. Was actually good and spooky as far as I was concerned. I don't know if James found it to be so.
I slept through most of it.
Yeah.
I was sleeping when it was on. It went on. So it got bangier towards the end, the way horror movies get, and that woke me up. So. Yeah, so I missed the basic theme of it or whatever. So.
Well, I think it's an awesome movie to have while you're, say, babysitting.
Yeah, we babysit dogs, so.
And Ellen,
what you're saying though is it would scare you.
It
right?
would,
Of
yeah.
course.
So if you're having to, if the adults of the house aren't going to be home until 3 in the morning or something like that, and you're babysitting.
Are they allowed to keep babysitters up that long?
I don't know what the legality is, but I mean,
it's anyone over 12, right?
Sure. But I was babysitting when I was 10 years old. I was a very responsible 10-year-old, and so I was a very popular babysitter. One woman, she'd pay me, I think it was $5 an hour, which at that time was humongous. It was such a lot of money.
You're 10 years old?
Yeah.
That would have been 85. That's over a generation ago.
Yeah.
Over 30 years ago.
So I was a very well-paid 10-year-old. Because and she was a member of, like, I think every sports club in town, and so like she was on all sorts of sports teams. So then she'd give her friends my name and number, and then I'd be babysitting their kids and stuff. And so I was very busy. I was very.
The other ones didn't pay you quite that, though, eh? Yeah. Because I think. In today's wages, that might be close to twice that, like $10 an hour.
I was very happy to babysit for her. Whenever I babysat for her, I'd do all of her housework while I was there too. I'd do the dishes. I'd do, because she paid me so well that I was like, I got to make it.
Yeah, I can see why you got extra money
and so she just kept calling me over, and then she was. All of her friends wanted me to babysit.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Get extra work done.
Well, yeah.
You're kind of lucky they're not having a house party when you're gone, eh? Some babysitter.
True.
But to get the house cleaned up,
But yeah,
that's a
sometimes she
bonus.
was home very, very late.
Well, there you go.
And there were other people that I babysat for. I remember watching a lot of the Home Shopping Channel
Oh my God, that
while
late,
I was
eh?
just trying to stay
yeah.
awake, you know, because I felt like, well, I have to stay awake because this is a job, you know, and
Well,
so
it's good that you were that responsible. There were kids involved.
Yes.
Right?
So anyway, Elementary, the final season, terrible. But
I like that show somehow or another. It's a lousy show, really, but I kind of like it.
you do. Well, that was the
I
final
kind of
season.
like that
so-
Sherlock guy. He's
I missed
the
it.
least impressive Sherlock I've ever seen.
I know. I wasn't
You know?
even watching it, and you know, the last episode I put it on, and because they don't have a play all feature. They haven't figured that out in all of their seasons.
There you
that
go.
you need a play
The
all.
Sherlocks who
button
put
for them.
that out couldn't figure that out.
Exactly.
So,
So I have to, and every time the music dum 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 dum, dum
yeah.
comes on, and I'm like, oh, I gotta rush to press play again because of this, just to stop this horrible music.
Yeah. Oh, that is horrible.
It is horrible.
Yeah. It even
And
bothers
so,
me.
if the
Usually
show
stuff
puts
like
you
that
to
does-
sleep, if you manage to be laying on the sofa trying to get some sleep, you might get
Then you're woken by the
45
music.
minutes, and then you're woken by that awful music, and you have to press play again.
About 45 minutes.
Terrible.
You know, the thing that gets me is, like, Watson is not the bumbling, stumbling fool that he's portrayed in the original.
No.
And the thing is, come on, like, if you, so it's a woman, is it Lucy Liu, is that her name? Or
Yeah.
something like that? Yeah. If you're gonna, you know, like, try and make things, you know, like, gender correct or something like that, have a woman Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then have some stumbling, bumbling guy. You know? I mean, these sorts of things have happened already. Agatha Christie had Miss Marple, you know? She's old, too. So it's age correct as well.
Yeah.
And she's kind of showing all the professional guys up, right? So it's been done before. But she uses common sense, right, and stuff like that, and gossip. Whereas you could have someone like, you know, like, I don't know what sort of woman his name you could come up with. It could be Sherlock, what the heck.
But yeah,
Sherlock Holmes.
the problem with Elementary is I honestly don't believe that either of the main characters are really that bright.
No, and you know, I was thinking about that.
If anything, Lucy Liu, maybe her character, the Joan Watson, her character might seem a little bit smarter.
Yeah, well, I've noticed sometimes that he's been kind of depending on her to pull him through. So every so occasionally he'll have something memorized. Apparently, the guy that this was based on, he actually had my last name, Bell.
Oh, that's right.
And he just had maybe a phenomenal memory and then played around with it, right? So.
Yeah.
I think he was a doctor, actually. But, you know, you rarely see that displayed in this character.
And that's why they have the what do you call it? What is he? Sergeant? I don't know the ranks of police officers. The guy that they deal with, his last name is Bell.
have
Maybe
sergeants,
that's why
I
they
think,
put him
but-
in there as Bell, his character.
Maybe, who knows? It's crazy. Anyway,
I can't
it's
remember what his first name was.
really smart guys don't appeal in North America.
Yeah.
Smart guys aren't appealing, right? Like, who are the popular detectives? Magnum PEI. Can you imagine a dumber? You know, like he's a bimbo. That's all. That's all it is. You know?
And his car's too small for him.
His what?
His car's too small for him.
I never noticed. You know what I'm saying? I never watched the show much. So.
Right.
What was that? No.
All right.
What was it? Was
Looks
it a
like
fancy
he's driving a
sports
woman's car. Well, it's
That's
a sports
hilarious.
car,
Oh, yeah.
but he's too big for it.
He's a big guy. There's no
Yes.
doubt about it. But he seems like 6'4". I don't know if that's like Hollywood tricks, because they used to make Clark Gable look big, and apparently he had to stand on soapboxes and junk like that to do kissing
But
scenes.
anyway, they gave Lucy Liu a blonde hairstyle in this for this season,
For some
and I
ungodly
don't know
reason.
why.
Yeah, well.
She looks fine, but not nearly as good as she looked with her black hair.
You like her black hair, and I'm going.
That was her best feature.
Okay, yeah.
Her hair was awesome.
Yeah, it actually was pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
This season, though, no, not awesome.
Not quite ugsome.
No.
But, there is such a word in the English language, ugsome. Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm. When women my age decide to go blonde, especially when they had black hair, it just looks like they're trying to cover up gray. And honestly, they look as old as if they were gray. It doesn't. The blonde does not look good
natural.
when you're.
If it's not natural.
Maybe you're right. Maybe if a woman is naturally blonde and she dyes blonde, it looks okay. I have no idea.
I think it wouldn't look so garish, you know? It wouldn't look so garish. Like, you know, like her hair color is almost the same color as her skin here. Did you notice that?
Yeah, that's okay. But
it just seems kind of weird.
She looked much better before.
Exactly right.
Anyway, so I'm going to talk about a couple Crowley books. I'm going to talk about 777, which I've already returned to the library. This one is Liber al Vel Legis, the Book of Law, and this one's the Book of Lies. And I would, although I didn't read them in this order when I got them out through interlibrary loan, because I just read them as they were coming in. So I read 777, which I already returned, and I would actually recommend that you do not read 777 first out of these three. I would recommend you read this one first, the Book of Lies. It is a work of art. And and really, when it comes down to it, Aleister Crowley was an artist. And his art was primarily put down in written form. So some people, they are painters, some people are writers, and but they are both are a way to express your artistic ability. So
you know, Norman Mailer wrote advertisements for myself. Really what this guy was his art was the art of promoting himself.
Well, yes.
You know? Norman Mailer too, I suppose, but this guy more so.
Like you have said before.
Look at me.
Exactly.
You know,
Aleister Crowley was
I'm
a rock
such a
star
bad
before
guy,
they were rock stars.
Yeah.
And so, but this is really very much worth reading. The Book of Lies, and I suppose I will read little bits of it last, just in case I don't have time, because I have to return this before the library opens today. So I'm going to read a little bit from First 777, which is already returned. What of Jehovah, the testy senior of early Genesis, that lawgiver of Leviticus, that war god of Joshua, that phallus of the depopulated slaves of the Egyptians, that jealous king god of the time of the kings, that more spiritual conception of the captivity only invented when all temporal hope was lost, that medieval battleground for cross-chopped logic, that being stripped of all his attributes and assimilated to per-Abrahaman and the absolute of the philosopher. And that was from the preface XIII, so that'd be 13, right? And okay, I'm gonna read a couple first, even though, well, I'm gonna read a couple sections from the Book of Law, which is this one. And I'm going to say, you won't burst into flames if you read this stuff. All it is ink on paper. And
you might burst into laughter, but
you might.
Some of it's kind of ridiculous, but yeah.
But it's actually worth reading, and I would say that this is a must-read. But there's nothing evil about reading it. You're not spooky or anything if you're doing it. You should read.
Some people might find that disappointing, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Anyway, so I'm reading the Book of Law is set up in different parts. So this is from page 14, number 45. There is death for the dogs. Number 48. Pity not the fallen. I never knew them. I am not for them. I console not. I hate the consoled and the consoler. 49. I am unique and conqueror. I am not of the slaves that perish. Be they damned and dead. Amen. This is of the four. There is a fifth who is invisible, and therein am I as a babe in an egg. So, and it goes on like that. So there's, if you go to page 15, then you can see, well, anyway, it's not long, just read it.
A lot of it sounds like capitalist claptrap, really, like greed is good, or...
yes.
Yeah.
And this is why I am talking about this now. So if you've been following my blog, which I don't think anyone does, but I mean, maybe in the future you might, then this will all work together. Yeah. If you read through what I've been writing, well, since the beginning, but especially since spring this year, then you'll definitely see the pattern where I'm going with this. Page 20, number 12, sacrifice cattle little and big after a child. 13, but not now. 23, for perfume mix meal and honey and thick leavings of red wine, then oil of abramelin and olive oil, and afterwards soften and smooth down with rich fresh blood. 24, the best blood is of the moon, monthly. Then the fresh blood of a child, or droppings from the host of heaven. Then of enemies. Then of the priest, or of the worshippers. Last, of some beast, no matter what. 25, this burn, of this make cakes, and eat unto me. This hath also another use. Let it be laid before me, and keep thick with perfumes of your orison. It shall become full of beetles, as it were, and creeping things sacred unto me. 26. These slay, naming your enemies, and they shall fall before you. 27. Also, these shall breed lust and power of lust in you, at the eating thereof. So, interesting cake. Not something I would necessarily want to serve on the deck dinner.
No, you'd see me projectile vomiting.
Yeah, like
knowingly.
Linda Blair. So, but again, I would say that's still all it is ink on paper. So read it. And if you're going to have an opinion about any religious text or anything at all, really, you have to, it has to be an informed opinion, right? You have to inform yourself before you have an opinion, or what's the point?
Yeah, what is the point?
So, I'm going to read a little bit from the Book of Lies, and I should have read the beginning part here, which is really interesting. So this was first published in London in 1913. And the Book of Lies, which is also falsely called Breaks, the wanderings or falsifications of the one thought of Frater Perdurabo, Aleister Crowley, which thought is itself untrue, which is great.
Is it Frater Perdurable?
Yeah, that'd be it.
That's the eternal brother or something.
Perdurable. Perdurable?
Perdurable. Thoroughly durable is maybe a way to read it and break it into its parts. So it's more than durable, it's like thoroughly durable.
Okay, I don't think I'm going to read that one. But I did bookmark a few. I don't know what order. Okay, this one is number 51. Tarry your work. Doubt thyself. Doubt even if thou doubtest thyself. Doubt all. Doubt even if thou doubtest all. It seems sometimes as if beneath all conscious doubt there lay some deepest certainty. Oh, kill it. Slay the snake. The horn of the doubt goat be exalted. Dive deeper, even deeper, ever deeper, into the abyss of mind, until thou unearth the fox that, oh, hounds, yoicks, tally-ho, bring that to bay. Then win the mort. So this book, why it's so awesome to get from the library, is it has commentary on the opposite page.
That's a good part
which
of
is,
that book.
yes.
Yeah.
The number 51 means failure and pain, and its subject is appropriately doubt. The title of the chapter is borrowed from the health-giving and fascinating sport of fox hunting, which Frater Perdurabo, did I say it right that time?
Yeah, durable, I believe that's what I said.
Followed in his youth. This chapter should be read in conjunction with The Soldier and the Hunchback, of which it is in some sort of an epitome.
Yep.
Its meaning.
Epitome is just a short, kind of like an abstract or something like that of something written. We use it for something else, an extended meaning. But, yeah.
Its meaning is sufficiently clear, but in paragraphs 6 and 7 it will be noticed that the identification of the soldier with the hunchback has reached such a pitch that the symbols are interchanged, enthusiasm being represented as the sinuous snake, skepticism as the goat of Sabbath. In other words, a state is reached in which destruction is as much joy as creation. Beyond that, this is still deeper state of mind, which is that. The bull baiting. 411 books wrote I, in each did I expound the great work fully from the beginning even unto the end thereof. Then at last came certain men unto me, saying, O Master, expound thou the great work unto us, O Master. And I held my peace. O generation of the gossipers, who shall deliver you from the wrath that is fallen upon you? O babblers, prattlers, talkers, loquacious ones, tattlers, chewers of the red rag that inflameth Apis the Redeemer to fury. Learn first what is work. And the great work is not so far beyond. 52 is BN, the number of the sun Osiris Apis the Redeemer, with whom the Master
It's hilarious how he
identifies himself.
Snaffles all this Egyptian stuff. The Apis bull was worshipped throughout Egypt, at least in the New Kingdom, and down beyond the New Kingdom, really. And Osiris is god of fertility, right? So, yeah.
He permits himself for a moment the pleasure of feeling his wounds, and turning upon his generation, gores it with his horns. The 411 books do not, we think, refer to the 91 chapters of this little masterpiece, or even to the numerous volumes he has penned, but rather to the fact that 91 is the number of Amen, implying the completeness of his work. In the last paragraph is a paranomasia? Paranomasia?
I run across that word, but I couldn't tell you what it means.
To chew the red rag is a phrase for to talk aimlessly and persistently, while it is notorious that a red cloth will excite the rage of a bull. So I find this one really, I like this piece because both this and the last one, kind of, this is what I've tried to do my whole life, is be skeptical of everything. And I mean, this is a book of lies, right? So you have to be skeptical of everything, and he's encouraging that, and then he's encouraging you to work. You put the work in, and I mean, he's saying that he's talking about whatever, just the 411 books, whatever. And then people are still coming up to him and oh, tell me what to do. And it's like, whoa, read. You know, I've been telling you, don't ask me to, like, do this now, like, just for you. And people are just that way, you know. They don't want to have to put the work in themselves. And it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's funny. I think in something like Buddhism, they'll tell you, you know, like, or anything that we're into meditation, don't think about anything. Like, empty your mind.
and I
believe
have to
in,
make sure.
filling your mind with stuff, just from different sources and viewpoints.
Yes. So this is page 148. Oh, I should just say number 69. And it's hilarious. So, the way to succeed and the way to suck eggs. This is the holy hexagram. Plunge from the height, O God, and interlock with man. Plunge from the height, O man, and interlocked with beast. The red triangle is the descending tongue of grace. The blue triangle is the ascending tongue of prayer. This interchange, the double gift of tongues, the word of double power, abrahadabra, is the sign of the great work, and for the great work is accomplished in silence, and behold, is not that word equal to Cheth, that is Cancer, whose sigil is, well, it's like...
It says 69.
Yeah. This work also eats up itself, accomplishes its own end, nourishes the worker, leaves no seed, is perfect in itself. Little children, love one another. And when Crowley says love, it's carnal. Commentary. The key to the understanding of this chapter is given in the number and the title. Former being intelligible to all nations and employ Arabic figures, the latter only to experts in deciphering English puns. The chapter alludes to Levi's drawing of the hexagram and is a criticism of or improvement upon it. In the ordinary hexagram, the hexagram of nature, the red triangle is upwards like fire and the blue triangle downwards like water. In the magical hexagram, this is reversed. The descending red triangle is that of the horse, the sign specially revealed by him personally at the equinox of the gods. It is the flame descending upon the altar and the licking up of the burnt offering. The blue triangle represents the aspiration, since blue is the color of devotion, and the triangle, kinetically considered, is the symbol of direct force. In the first 3 paragraphs, this formation of the hexagram is explained. It's the symbol of mutual separation of the holy guardian angel and his client. In the interlocking is indicated the completion of the work. Paragraph 4 explains in slightly different language what we've said above, and the scriptural image of tongues is introduced. In the paragraph 5, the symbolism of tongues is further developed. Abrahadabra is the primal example of the interlocked word. We assume that the reader has thoroughly studied that word in Liber D, etc., and the sigil of Cancer links up the symbolism with the number of the chapter. The remaining paragraphs continue the Gaelic symbolism. Well, I mean, obviously you know what this one's about, given that it's number 69, and the work also eats up itself, accomplishes its own end, nourishes the worker, leaves no seed, it's perfect in itself. You know what he's telling you to do there. So anyway, I think that one's good, and I'm glad I could share this with you today.
Have fun.